Birmingham.
Good evening, Wembley.
It's lovely to see you all. I can say that just over a year I was sat just where you were. I hadn't heard of Daniel before. I hadn't heard of this process at all. But I do know I wanted to change. I wanted to do something different. I was working as a psychological wellbeing therapist, and I was seeing a lot of people coming through with lots of problems, very much due to the changing environment that we're all currently experiencing, due to the revolution you're talking about. And their identities were sort of really suffering. You know, who am I now? My job is gone. I have always wanted to write a book. And so I have over years attempted to write books. And I have 3 unfinished fictional books at home. But when I came to one of these very evenings that you're sat at and I listened to Daniel, I thought, you know what? This is going to get me where I want to be. From where I'm sitting now, I can see where this is going to take me. So I joined up. And when I sat on that one-day event with Mindy, I really got what she was talking about, how I could get the ideas I had out of my head. Now, this kind of, what tends to happen when we make transitions in our lives, it's usually because something's happened. And it's not always something joyful. It could be a loss of a job, a loss of a relationship. With me, it was the loss of my brother as well. And I knew I had to do something. And so on the way back from London, I had all these bits of paper and I was writing furiously. And I practically wrote the outline, the plan of my book, in 2 hours. And then I spent the next 4 months writing my book. And I completed the first draft of my book and sent it to the publishers. I started in September last year and I completed it in January of this year. It was published in May and I launched it in July, and here's my book. What I actually found when I was working with people was that they were so caught up in their role, and what I was doing with them was actually showing them that they were more than this role. So I was actually developing their awareness of themselves, getting them to understand that these roles were just part of their acquired self. We can be mother, we can be brother, we can be auntie, we can be business leaders, we can be all these things in the world. But really, behind that is us. And we have this authentic nature that people are disconnected with. So this book tells you about my thoughts on our authentic self. It takes you on a journey on acquiring your authentic nature and how to stay there. And how you can have a more meaningful life. You can enjoy who you are and not trade it in for what other people expect you to be. And since publishing this book, I have had such an amazing response. People have actually come up to me and said, I read the book and I couldn't put it down and I really love it. And somebody else came up to me and said, do you know what, there was someone who was really struggling with something, and I got the book out and I said, read page XYZ. And that was really nice. But what was really even more important for me were my peers at work. When they actually read the book and they actually talked to me about what I actually did in my rooms, they were quite taken with it. And I was just about to do my master's, and I was told by one of the clinicians, you don't need to do that anymore. You have your credibility. So my journey has been such an amazing one, from sort of having this idea about being an author to actually being a published author. And I've been featured on radio, and I'm writing for magazines as well. That's my journey so far.
Fantastic.
And it's an amazing one, and I really enjoy it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.